Welcome to Be the Extra, your go-to source for everything entertainment business. My name is Anthony Uduba. 2024 was a phenomenal year for movies in Nigeria, and we're going to be counting down on the top-rated films that have captivated audiences in 2024. With me in the studio today is none other than me, and she's here with me to help us, narrate and discuss on the movies that we are going to be looking at today. Welcome, Nii. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to be here, Anthony. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. So let's go. Let's make things like light.
Yeah.
2024 was a very good year for movies. I think we had a lot of them from Nollywood, and we also had blockbusters from Hollywood too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about the movie industry like in 2024?
I thought it was very. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very box office focused as well. Every entertainment news, every movie news was always had attached to it the box office. And something I noticed is that they even started creating categories in a way. So this is the
Yeah.
first sci-fi original screenplay to reach $500 million. And I feel like we're really focused on box office milestones.
Yeah.
There's very niche definitions that okay, so the first original screenplay that is also a sci-fi that is to reach $400 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like we just kept making milestones. I mean, they did well. Lots of movies did well at the box office, so I don't blame them. But I think we're very box office focused.
Yeah, I think so because we're trying to get our numbers up and trying to get investors in. I think that is the reason why we have a lot of these numbers coming up. Yeah, so being box office focused, as you said, can be justifiable because we're looking for that naira.
That's a good point. In Hollywood, I agree. But for what's justification for Hollywood?
So Hollywood is different.
All right.
So basically, but let's touch down on your favorite movies of the year.
Okay.
What movies do around Netflix or Amazon or in the cinemas? Which of these films got your attention this year?
Dune Part 2. Yeah. Dune Part 2 because I feel like they're movies you love, but I feel like they're movies you go and see. And it's not even that you love it, it's that you can't but attest that this is good filmmaking. For me, Dune Part 2 is that movie. I like the actors there, but it was even more than that. It's just that I was watching it, and as I was watching it, I realized that this is perfect. It's not a movie that I would love that I watch 5 times. But if anybody asks me about Dune Part, I'm like, it was a spectacle. It was incredible. I can't lie about that. I like Inside Out too because
that's
Inside Out too, to me, animation is like the most brilliant minds work on animation.
Yeah.
Inside Out too captures such intricate and I feel like very nuanced emotions, especially not only in adolescence, but just even we as adults that we feel. And I feel like animation has a way of expressing those emotions without the barrier of the human factor.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really like the ending of Inside Out too. When she wanted to find out, I think maybe whether she got on the team or not,
Yeah.
and the movie just cut before the result was out. Just
Yeah.
saying that's even irrelevant to the emotion she's feeling. That's even irrelevant to the lesson in this movie. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. Like I've never seen like the concept go when it came out. When the first movie came out, Inside Out one, I think it won the Oscars for best animation.
I think so. I'm not sure.
It
I'm not
did.
sure. Okay.
It did. It won an Oscar for best animation that year, and it captures so we are seeing, when the artist paints like a picture of what an emotion looks like your happiness or sadness or joy
Yeah.
or whatever. And this particular film basically does that for me because he also adds new emotions based on she's now grown up, she's now a teenager, and you have like anxiety, and they all painted that very good picture. So I
Yeah.
was really in love with that film.
I was. And if you notice in Inside Out too, there's a scene when the new emotions were moving in. If
Yeah.
you notice, anxiety is the only emotion that is showed with like 6 baggages. that's just
That is
brilliant.
what-
Do you understand what I'm
exactly,
saying? Like
yeah.
she was the only emotion shown with 6 baggages. Like I love
It
that
just
so
tells a
much.
lot that
Exactly.
that's what the emotion is talking
Exactly.
about. So let's go to let's go back to Nollywood. Let's count down on our so we have like 10 movies here
Okay.
that we're looking at, and based on box office, because I didn't do that. I didn't just go to Netflix or Amazon. I just had to combine um seen the cinema, the films that went to the cinema,
Okay.
Netflix and Amazon. So I was like, okay, let's bring everything together, which was because there was so many good films from
Yeah,
each
I
platform.
agree.
Yeah. So let's go to our number 10, which is Queen Latifa by Ade Oluwa Ogu. And that was according to critics and those who saw the film for the first time when it dropped in the cinema. I think it dropped in the cinema alongside Farmer's Bride as well, and it was basically so there were two actresses in the both movies that did so well. The performances were great and all that. So Wumi Toriola was also there. She played alongside Kunle Remy.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was one of the standout films of 2024. And here it says that it's about a businesswoman who claims to have traveled the world and belongs to a high society. Her encounter with Jide Rhodes, who is played by Kunle Remy, a 35-year-old businessman, reveals all her hidden secrets and all that. So basically, that's what the film is talking about. And Queen Latifah is the first time for Wumi Toriola was the first time producer in this film. She basically was, she was in charge of production um, Queen Latifah, and the movie generated over 269 million naira in the box office as well. So I think that was an impressive thing for her to get those kind of numbers cinema in box office in Nigeria.
Mhm.
Most times we see there is we don't some producers don't get as much as or up to 150 million. We saw,
Oh,
yeah. So basically, there was a rift or there was this gist. I don't know if you Femi Blanc.
okay.
He basically came out to criticize the cinema business and all that recently, and people were like, "What's going on?" And he basically spoke some truth that some producers are getting more screen time in the cinemas than other film
Okay.
producers, which is a disparity between the ones that are at the top and those that are trying to like get their films out there. And Pere, Pere, the Bibinan,
I
he
do.
did a film called I've forgotten the name of it. But he did a film,
Mm-hmm.
and he basically told us that he didn't make as much. He didn't make up to 90 million at the box office when his
Okay.
film was released, which was like very. It was so under because being that he made the film with over 200 million naira.
Oh wow.
So that's like a big deal for him. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's our first film. Coming up next is All's Fair in Love by DME O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to say about that? How
I
was it like?
did. I
Yeah,
think it is a retrogressive story that was told. I think the synopsis is about two best friends that are both interested in the same woman. I mean, I think our filmmaking in Nigeria has evolved past those kind of stories.
mm,
I think if you told that story in 2006, it would get it is a story that will spark up discussion. Not
yeah.
even I feel not even essential discussion, just discussion that whiles away time, and that's fine for 2006. But in 2024, I feel like there's so much more we can do. There's so much more we should do. There's so much more that's even being done already by the people in Nollywood for us to still be telling this kind of story.
Yeah, but the film was so basically I
Mhm.
also like play the devil's advocate
That's
here
fine.
because this is basically like his first work. Demi Okolan was
Okay.
we all know him as a popular actor, but
Yeah.
trying to get his name into the producer socket and all
Okay.
that. So I think that's where it comes in for me. And so I'm looking at it from it's the first time he's doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, if I want to call the good sides or count the good side of the movie, the cinematography was quite great as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a lot of work with trying to show because the film was basically about fashion.
Yeah.
He was a fashion designer trying to make a name for himself, and his father's business. He didn't want to follow that line of
Yeah.
work. Just someone that's trying to make it without his father's name and all that. So that was basically it for me. I think I had a connection to that as well, and I think some viewers are based on, but the storyline was actually not bad. I would say
Okay.
I want to say the storyline was quite like okay
All right.
because looking at being that he was coming from some I know that story he's trying to tell is basically 2006. Might be right though, but I just for a first time producer that works for me.
Okay.
He's not a Kunle Afonlayo. I can criticize Kunle Afonlayo based on that particular story because he has told something similar in the past.
Okay.
And he's a legendary filmmaker as well. But I think being that DME is the first time producer and the kind of story he's trying to tell, I think that's worked for me. the fashion incline in the whole story, just trying to show African fashion more. The costumes that was being worn by was the I think Timini
Timini.
Timini
Yeah.
Obusun. Like, so the costumes he also wore was actually fantastic. I love what he did and how he dressed, just to show us that okay, these guys are actually fashion sense. You can't be having somebody who is a fashion designer and not look like a fashion designer.
Okay.
So I think they got that part in all this. So I think I appreciate that part of the work. But in terms of the timing of the story, I think it's kind of misses the road. But for the first time, um, producer, I think works for me that way.
All right.
So,
It doesn't work for me.
all right, you
I can't
say,
excuse that.
okay.
Did you see Monkey Man?
I didn't see that.
Okay, it's Dev Patel. That was his directorial debut. You know the actor Slumdog
Yeah,
Millionaire.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like that is a movie, in my opinion, that pushes boundaries. And I don't even think you have to push boundaries, but I just feel like the storyline of two best friends fall in love with the same woman,
Yeah.
I it's too one dimensional. It's too it's living in the past, in my opinion. Yeah.
I think the storyline also comes with a bit of like betrayals and trust and all. But then again, I feel
Okay.
you.
It's fine.
Yeah. So the movie did it was quite a good one. It was well appreciated by others because again, people said it's because it's his first work and all that. So let's give him that.
Okay.
I know you also have a problem with
No,
that.
no, I don't have a problem with it.
Good.
It's just not for me.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have a problem with it.
All right. So the movie did 132 million at the box office, which is quite a good one for him.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. So depending on if the budget of the film was more,
That's
that's
true.
why I like to push out. Nollywood will try to hide our numbers in terms of the budget that was being made.
Hmm.
If you ask a Nollywood producer how much do you
You know, I think that's just the Nigerian behavior that just spilled into filmmaking.
yeah,
Honestly,
exactly, which is not supposed to be so. If you ask me, like
I
we
agree.
always have to. But when you go through Wikipedia, you type a title of a film
Hmm.
on your search engine, it gives you the sidebar where the Wikipedia quotes and all that, how much was made, the budget of the film, the
Yeah,
producer, director, and all that. So those information are always there to like help guide our investors,
yeah.
those who are trying to invest in the business. So I think our money should be more like communicated. So that's what I think
I
here.
agree with that. I agree with that.
So let's move to our next film, Farmer's Bride. This was also a captivating story, and it's premiered. It was released on September 27th, 2024. We had the cast of Toby Bakari, Ubemi Eje, Femi Branch, Mercy Aigbe, Efe Erele, and Wumi Toriola, who was also at on the film Queen Latifa as well. So, what is your take on?
I like Farmer's Bride.
Mm,
I really like Farmer's Bride. The first reason I like Farmer's Bride is because getting into the entering into the viewing screen
yeah,
during the premiere,
yeah,
based on the trailer, I thought I was going to see romance. But it is not. It is not a romance. And to me, that trailer was optimized. That's what the trailer should do. It's supposed to pique interest. I
yeah,
feel like now a lot of times I just get 2 minute summaries of the movie in trailers. I don't want to know what the movie is about.
yeah,
Like just pique my interest. That's what the trailer is
yeah.
supposed to, and that's what that trailer did. Like I thought I was going there for love. I was even a bit bored, and then I was like, oh my goodness, it was really good. And I like seeing Toby Bakari in that kind of role.
Yeah,
I think like it does a lot of action, which is not bad. But I like that this diversifies his filmography. To
yeah.
me, it's just like a different palette, and I love it. I like the writing of this in this movie. I like that the characters all speak with intention.
Yeah.
Like they don't use words carelessly. They don't use generic terms to describe their emotion, and so that shows me there's particularity in the emotion that they are feeling. Then I think I can also tell that the writer co-directed this movie. I think Jack Kenneth wrote and co-directed
Yeah.
it, and especially because like there are so many subtle emotions, so many subtle indications that tell you that okay, the person that had the vision was involved in making it visual.
Mm.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I think we discussed about that earlier this year when we were talking about stories, Nollywood stories, and how it's not been up to par because of there's not been a lot of complaints and all. And speaking to movie producers and writers, they
Yeah,
all are they agree in one thing that the writers of the play, or the writer of the film,
hmm,
should also have a part in the visuals of the film
I
because
agree with
that's
that.
what that
Yeah,
would bring like a synergy between the writers and the directors.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes they say, or most times I hear that the movie has like three lives, or it comes in three forms.
Hmm.
The writers have their own idea about what
Yeah.
the film is about. Then it moves to the director. Then it moves to the final producer, which are the post production crew.
Hmm.
So those ones are also the ones
I
that
like that.
so they cut
I
a lot of
like-
things out and all. So when a movie comes out as a writer, be like, this is
yeah, I like that illustration. That makes sense. A story has three lives. I like that.
yeah, definitely. So that's what I figured out with this in 2024.
Mhm.
Diving into the industry deeper to understand that this is what our films go through before they get to the final screen.
Okay.
So yeah, so your final thoughts on Farmer's Bride?
Really good. Very, very good.
Uh, yeah, definitely. I think the movie is good. And who was your best? Like, who performed more? Who performed better?
Man. I want to quickly check. Sorry, I wrote it down. Okay.
Okay.
Messi Agbe and Bubemi. To me, they were exceptional. I liked Obubakar. I like the role. To me, I feel like this role challenges him to step out of out of type
Yeah.
for him. But Bubemi and Messi Agbe, they were exceptional. They were exceptional.
You have to go pay them a visit so we can learn from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ube Me is basically someone that I keep an eye on these days. Her movies her acting
Hmm.
are on par.
I agree.
Like I've been following her since Far From Home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was when I got to like understand her kind of film and her kind of there are a lot of stars that came out from that
Yeah.
movie and all that.
Yeah.
So
Young Nollywood.
Wong Nollywood. Yeah. So I'm so glad with Mike Afolare too. He was part of the film.
Yeah.
So these are people that I keep an eye on, and they are young Nollywood, as you
Mhm.
said. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
The future.
Exciting things.
Exciting things. So the next movie is Mommy Wa by Biodo Stevens.
Mhm.
Did you say that movie? What was
I
it like?
did.
So what's your take on the film on Biodo Stevens' film?
So I think the filmmaking techniques used in making this movie, like the
Yeah.
cinematography and the editing, I think
Yeah.
they're exceptional. I think they help translate the story from words to visuals very well. And I was even very impressed by it, especially the editing. But again, the story that is being told, in my opinion, is a 2006 story.
Yeah, this story was talking about. If you watch Mommy Why, you understand that this is a story about a house
House, yeah,
maid
yeah, housemate.
who gradually falls in love with
Our
her
boss.
boss
Mm-hmm.
because the mother of the children are out of town and not there to take care of the children and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So if is it a 2020 2006 film as you call it? Well, in my opinion, I think Nollywood has its own unique way of telling stories. But then
Okay.
again, as we said, we need to improve on it,
Mm-hmm.
which I am for that because you can't just be giving us generic storytelling. It's going to like bore me out.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Hollywood films do more money or do more box office revenues than Nollywood films in your own house.
Yeah.
So we've not even cracked the whole making more money in our house
Locally, yeah.
locally. So storytelling that basically calls out from. But in terms of Mommy Wa was just trying to me. It was trying to tell a story of so it was more modern.
Okay.
If you look at the costume and the
I agree
house
with
that
that.
was used,
I agree.
everything was so it wasn't really about if I key it to one of those films I watched back in the late or early 2000s.
Yeah.
I say, okay, that's house help from that era and this house help from this era. The dressing is different, the clothing is different, and
Okay.
everything. So basically, the story. So I wasn't feeling like I was being told a story I know before, but then again, I said, so I want to relate this to Sister
Okay.
in 20.
Oh, I didn't see Sister.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sister was basically of the same, and to me, that was the best film of that year.
Okay.
That was 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yeah.
So Sister was like one of the best films that year. And to me, the way Biodo Stevens also did.
I
that
know she
film.
was director.
So it's the same pattern, and I think she was trying to she's trying to communicate some kind of like in a subtle way, trying to bring out what it's like or how these people are living real life.
Okay.
And Kennedy Bankole ate that role up. She ate that. If you see that, I like to recommend good films to people.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, definitely. So it was one of the best films of that year. And came into this one, so it was quite a good movie. Cinematography was great.
Okay. Yeah. Even the acting, Messi Agbe
yeah,
was phenomenal.
was phenomenal.
Was phenomenal.
I think was it Messi? Yeah, Messi Aigbe. Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry. Is it Mesagwe? Iyabo Ojo.
Iyabo Ojo.
Iyabo Ojo.
Iyabo Ojo was
Iyabo
phenomenal.
Ojo was phenomenal.
She gave me a different side of her I've never seen before. I've not seen her in that trying to jump from crying for my children, I missed you so much to
Yeah.
like I'm not who I think I am
I-
and all that. So it was quite great.
Yeah.
I love the acting from the lead cast who are blessing Jessica Obasi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first. I don't watch.
I think I've seen her before.
Yeah, so I've not seen her in a lead role before.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. I've not seen her in a lead role. So I think her acting up and she used the kind of she was the intonation when she says "Daddy, wah, wah,"
Yeah.
and I'm always like that was like my she's my best performer in the movie so far.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think and the movie is currently streaming on
Prime Video.
Prime Video.
Yeah.
So I think if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. That was one of the best films of 2024 according to Business. So we move to the next film, Anikulapo, Rise of the Spectre
Mm-hmm.
by Kunle Afolayan.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think about the film?
I think this film has incredible world building. Like it is a living, breathing world. It's like you get into a story that is like you're just watching from an eagle's point of view what is happening on Earth. Like I feel like the details, the way of life has been very clearly established, and you see it in how things are performed. There's nothing seems new. It seems like they are going with an already existing flow, and I appreciate that. I think the reason why this movie did not have as much of an impact on me is because I felt it was too long.
Okay.
It's a limited series, 6 episodes, and an episode is like an hour long.
Yeah.
I feel like that was too long. That was like I feel like the story was a bit dragged out. I feel like there were parts of the way of life that was shown that could have been shortened for maximal impact. That's what I felt.
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing too because the roles from the lead cast like Kunle Remi's role,
Yeah.
who played Saru, and it was quite different from what I imagine. I know he came in with the same energy of trying to get more than one woman in the whole film and all that. And that's where the whole Saru gig came up for last when the initial movie came
Yeah,
out
yeah.
and all that. So I think it was also a good movie for me. I like the visuals and as you said, perfect setup and all. I am Kunle Afolayan, basically, he has a film
I do, yeah.
where he filmed
In Ibadan, yes.
that's
Or your
Ibadan.
state, I think.
So I think the whole blend of the film, like the film city, and it wasn't giving like anything was fake. Everything was just real
Excellent.
and excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think to me, I would give that movie. I love the acting of Kunle Remi. There also the other cast as well. I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Bimbo.
Bademoye
Yeah.
was also very
So
good
of
too.
course, yeah.
I think there was this disparity of her age, from the first film to the second film. The first film kind of made us feel like she was old and all that during the ending of the first film, and when you come to the miniseries,
Okay.
she's gotten her youth back. I'm like, where did you see your youth? Can you tell us or give us the soup?
Okay, I didn't
you
pick
see-
that up. Huh.
I did. I think that was what I kind of, but it was good acting from her.
Yeah.
And all. And we move to our next film, Oloture, The Journey. Movie rides off from the back of the 2020 film Oloture, which followed the lead actor Sharon Oja, who played an undercover sex worker, risking her life to expose the human trafficking ring. And this basically is when this series came. It's a mini series as well, second mini series on our list. While watching this, what was your convictions while saying Oloture?
I love it. I feel like this is excellent film activism. Like they're talking. There are too many things. First of all, I love that it's just 3 episodes and like about 30 minutes per episode.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is not even like 1 hour 30 minutes movie, that it is staggered. To me, that was a very wise way of keeping things fresh. You start the next episode fresh. I love that. But this movie is incredible film activism, in my opinion. I love the fact that the ending didn't have a resolution. That it did not make you feel good, but it put like a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
That something is still going on.
Yeah.
Because they're actually talking about an humanitarian issue. It's incredible. I love that the plot had many subplots. The show had a lot of moving parts, and it kept things. It kept elevating the story. There was a lot of antagonism that kept increasing the tension, increasing the stakes. It got you very involved, very engaged in the outcome, and the fact that it didn't even have an outcome. That's brilliant. That's a brilliant creative decision. I'm impressed. I love this movie.
I
love
think you're
it.
the first person that has explained how this film works because for most people, they criticizing the movie and the series, and like some people say it's not the storyline did not make us feel like we need to have a second part of Oloture, which I've heard a lot so far. But I
Okay.
think to me personally, the movie did drag a little.
Okay.
To my I the storyline there was just a lot going on. Yeah, there were a lot of antagonists that were coming up, like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why do we need so much antagonists in one particular? And looking at the episodes, just 3 episodes. Why do we need so much antagonists? Because
Can I say
yeah,
something? Because it's not just a film, it's also activism. That's why
okay,
I feel like they're telling the real story again. Like I don't think to me, and that's why I'm even more impressed about this movie is that it's activism on one hand, but the other hand is also very good filmmaking. Like the production was so up to par, the directing was incredible, the acting as well. But it is there to, like you said, why is there so much antagonism? Because this
yeah,
is what people go through during the course of self trafficking,
yeah,
during the course of sex trafficking.
yeah.
Like this is how many challenges they have to face, and they still don't even know the end. It's not the light at the end of the tunnel is not assured. It is a gamble, and I love that. I think that's why there was so many antagonism. I think because this movie was somebody saying I want to shed light on a social issue, and but I want to do it well with good filmmaking, and I think this is the result of those decisions. Yeah.
I think those. So looking forward, we were looking at Ebony Life Day. What do you think about like their next project? Um,
Which was it?
so they're doing some. They're doing Blood Sisters. The next part two
Oh,
of Blood Sisters.
okay.
So does this keeps you on toes, or does it build some anticipation to their next project?
It does because what builds the anticipation is the fact that I like the first Blood Sisters. I think the justification for whether there needs to be a second part will be the second part itself. When we see it, that's when we know is it justified or not. So, and that's those are the two reasons why I'm actually anticipating the second part of Blood Sisters
Yeah,
because Kenneth Giang, I think, was involved in the first one and he
yeah,
was involved in this Oloture
yeah.
day journey. So, that is why I'm keeping my eye out.
Yeah, so so there's also the inclusion of Daniel Oriahi.
Okay.
If you're he's basically the guy who did Taxi Driver or Kashao,
Okay.
and he also did The Weekend,
Okay.
which was I think one of the best
Yeah, you said so.
films. Bites me. So I think he did a great work, and following his work so
Mm-hmm.
far, like his graphics so far, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's basically one of my most favorite storytellers so
Okay.
far. Like the way he uses visuals to tell stories, it's impeccable. Like it's just different. The camera angles are I don't know. It's to me it's like the Nigerian Christopher Nolan. So
Mm,
I that's my own like
yeah.
conviction. Yeah. So let's go to our next film. Ajoshepo. It's a Nigerian comedy drama directed by Kayode Kasum, also one of my favorites as well. He does some people call his work generic, but I think he's a great storyteller too. That he has done so many like of my favorite works in the past. I reached out to him. There was this film. Oh God, why do I have to say that?
It's fine.
Please cut this.
Oh, okay.
So definitely, he has done a lot of good works, and according to me, one of the best filmmakers of Nigeria so far. Talk about the Funke Akindele. He's amongst this you have to call Akindele, you call him as well, and he does very good work. So the story talks about a young couple, Dapo and Tani, whose wedding plans are upended by the family secret, tensions, and unexpected revelations. The story basically pointed at the father of the bride liking somebody else. So it's basically a story about like revelation of secrets and people getting to know new things about themselves and the family in the wedding of their children. And so it was a drama that a lot of Nigerians, because it's drama, we like drama a lot. So basically, that is what feeds our interest in this part of the world. And that film came with a bunch of it, comedy as well. People want to laugh, and all. I think Kyle Castle blended everything together visually and gave us a blockbuster. Yeah, so the movie starred the likes of Timini Egboso, Tomike Adeoye, Isola Ayeola, Mercy Aegbe, Yemi Sholade, and Micah Folari. So these are one of the when you call the Nollywood youths and the young Nollywood and the old Nollywood coming together to get to give us something nice. I think that movie did so well, and it grossed over 257 million naira, which is when you cross the 250 threshold, no matter
Mm-hmm.
how small it is to
Yeah.
me, I think you've done a great work
Okay.
because it's not hard to see that kind of money based on how well the way level that Nollywood operates in Nigeria. Sometimes see that the amount of money, because we started to realize that the money that filmmakers used to make to produce movies are up to like 200 million, 100 million when you want to get a blockbuster cinema films. And when you try to break even, there's a lot
Yeah.
of business around it that, tells where the money goes to, how much is being made, and you actually broke even in your film. So I'll just say Paul was a good movie for me and a lot of Nigerians as well who saw the movie. So let's go to the our number three on the list, A Tribe Called Judah by Funke Akindele. Let's see, what are your thoughts about A Tribe Called Judah? I think the movie was a record-breaking film of
Yeah.
2024. So what was your thought about the film?
I feel like Funke Akindele, like she makes characters that are living and breathing. Like her stories are immersive,
Yeah,
and they never feel like fiction. Most of Funke Akindele productions
yeah,
are very real. They are very immersive. They're very transportive. They are possible. They are probable. They are stories that we know.
mm,
At least for majority of Nigerians. Yeah, I like the Tribe Called You. I liked it a lot. I saw it in the beginning of the year.
yeah,
January. It came out last
yeah. It
year.
came out last year,
Last year,
December.
January. December.
Yeah, it was a Christmas
This
film of 2020.
2025.
Happy New Year.
Okay. So it came out.
It came out 2023 December,
Okay, good.
and
It
it's
came
a,
out 2023
yeah,
December. Yeah. What do you think about it?
yeah. So the movie made waves in 2020. It was a big December film.
Yeah.
Funke Akindele so far has tried to position herself as the queen of December. To me, that's what she is because over the past since 2020,
Mm-hmm.
she has been dropping uh, bangers after bangers of movies, and people
I
are
agree.
rushing to the cinemas to see. We start from Omogeto the Saga, then we go to Battle of Booker Street,
Yeah.
and the Tribe Called Judah. And
Mm-hmm.
this year we got Everybody Loves Jennifer, which has also broken the record for the fastest Nigerian film to get to a billionaire, which is amazing. We don't see a lot of billionaire movies in Nigeria. The
Yeah.
last one was her as well,
Yeah.
who did a billionaire in
Yeah.
2020. It was 21 days, she achieved that. And I think this is a stepping stone for her. She's also trying to get to a 5 billion, as she has acclaimed, or she has said that she wants her film to do a 5 billion naira, be the first movie to reach that level,
Yeah.
and which is a challenge for Nollywood. So, what do you think about that, saying that she needs her film to um get to 5 billion or even 2 billion, if probably because we might see her film getting to 2 billion this year. What do you think about the numbers that she's trying to do? How does it challenge the industry?
I think it's always easier when someone has done it.
Yeah.
Like she reaching that goal because it's very possible. Nothing is really out of reach. So 2 billion or 5 billion, she reaching that is going to is. It propels from Kakidele forward, but it propels the whole of Nollywood forward.
Yeah.
In fact, in a way, it stretches the limitations on other Nigerian movies, whether they are good or not. In a way, I feel like the more box office milestones Nollywood reaches,
Yeah.
the more deserving and even undeserving movies will make. So I feel like even movies that are not good can start to make 400 million just because somebody's
Mm,
already making 5 billion in a movie that is good.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie is quite interesting because I think too that is where Nollywood is also heading to. We are
Yeah.
trying to make more money by and trying to get ourselves out there, trying to
Yeah.
get our films in international cinemas. So we can start making these numbers that the Afrobeat contemporaries are also doing.
Yeah.
The music
In this industry,
contemporaries.
yeah.
Yeah. So the film was a good one to me. I felt that so it the best movie to me, no. I wouldn't call it the best movie because the storyline, as well as we all talk about, when I watch a movie, I try to like watch it like with my what's the story, what are you trying to teach me,
Okay.
what's the film about, what are you trying to preach to me, how
Mm-hmm.
can I understand it, does it connect to me, so the story was like moving high, like there was chaos, there was everything you want a movie to have. It had that, but we got to a point where I just looked at the film and towards the end of the film, the angle or the storyline just fell off for me, and
Okay.
that was like when you have like a review of the film and there's like a painting of a horse, the season and all
I've
that.
seen that.
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
seen that, right?
I've seen that
So I
too.
think the film was painted, properly towards the beginning, and when it got to the end, like it was caricatured. But I think she did a good job all
Ah,
around.
yeah.
But her new film basically, I don't think everybody has a problem with that. I've been getting a lot of. I've watched that.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would say it's my best for the year, but I kind of give her kudos for the effort she did, and she knows how to tell a compelling story, something that is real that people feel, and that's why I think she's making people come to the cinemas to see this her films.
Yeah, I think also her reputation is just speaking for her now at this point.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why everybody loves Jennifer has made such great strides
yeah,
because her past three movies, not only have they been box office hits, but they've also been acclaimed movies by
mm,
both critics and audience members.
yeah,
So at this point, she's just soaring on eagle's wings and good for her,
yeah.
you
So let's go to our next movie. The second on our list
know.
is Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti by Bolanle Austen-Peters. So, what's your take on that film?
Oh, I think he's incredible. I think this movie is amazing. I've always loved Kenny Bankole. I think she's an incredible. I think she's a perfect actress.
Mm,
But I think the way this story was told, even just is very. I don't know the way the story was told, even from the beginning when they had a young, I think an adolescent
yeah,
Fumilayo,
yeah,
a middle-aged Fumilayo, an elderly Fumilayo. To me, it just set the tone. I already knew that. Oh, this is good filmmaking.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought the performances were excellent. I thought the monumental moments in her life that were chosen to be included in this biopic was also very smart. Like the part of her going to the masquerades coming out of the palace and they
yeah,
couldn't see it, but they already had elderly women ready to bear their chest,
yeah,
because that was also a taboo for men to see. I thought
yeah,
like the significant moments of the story of her life that were brought to the screen. I thought they were smart. They kept you engaged. And it's just an interesting. It is. I don't know. I don't even call this film activity to me. This is just good filmmaking. It's
mm,
good storytelling, in my opinion. Yeah.
yeah. So the movie also made it to the one of the fastest growing or fastest or highest grossing biopic in
Mm-hmm.
Nollywood history. I think she did a good work with that as well. The story was compelling. I love the
I agree.
angles of it, and you're making a biopic about a legend
Yeah.
in Nigeria. I
A
think
legend whose story has been undertold.
undertold,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that also did something for me because everybody just knows her as Fela's mother.
Yeah.
Everybody knows her
And
as
the
the
first woman
acting.
to drive a car.
Yeah, so it was just there, and
Like, there's so much more she did. Like, what do you mean? Like, watching when I was watching, I just kept thinking, like, it's like someone coming to tell you that how was your day, and the person said, "Oh, they eat like a bike man," but realized there was a fire in the building. So
yeah.
there, what's it called? UFOs are flying this guy. Like, what? Like, there's so much more that happened. Why are you telling me
Why
just
just telling
one?
me there's
Nah, no,
something?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know we've been fed that for years and for decades,
exactly.
and people who have grown up and has grown up to know who Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti is, they even teach it in schools, and they don't teach school children that she actually did activism for
Because they
women.
didn't want to encourage it. They didn't want other women to be like her. That's always the fear, is that if one person can do it, more people will start to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So do you think that this is a lesson for filmmakers to try and create a narrative about history in our country?
definitely. I think even filmmakers are already doing it. Even Anikulapo, I just learned that it's based on Yoruba philosophy, a verse from Ifa. Like, I feel like even is it Lisa B?
Lisa B, yeah.
Lisa
The
B, like,
same from
like, so I feel like we're already beginning to tell our history. Things that we were not taught in school for one reason or the other. I feel like we're already learning that. Yeah.
So do you think that with the idea of Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti, there's a synergy between, oh, this is the educational system, can we like tap into what these filmmakers are already going to research and try to like bring it into the school curriculum so that people know more about these characters?
That's brilliant, actually. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, even if like secondary schools, even if there's no yet history being taught in the schools,
Yeah,
on their social media they can show from Lion and
yeah,
Sofite.
yeah,
On their social
yeah,
media they can show
yeah,
Anikulapo. On their
yeah,
social media they can show Lisa B. That's
yeah.
very smart way around the system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this can like during their co-curricular activities,
Did you
just
get?
play a movie like, and it's going to do.
And technically they're not really teaching history, they're showing a movie. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So it works both ways. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
love
shout
it.
out to Nollywood for that. Shout out
Yeah.
to Bolanle Austen-Peters. She did so well with making a biopic that tells the story of our legend. So we have I have an honorable mention.
Okay.
So before we move to
There has to be one.
yeah, there has to be one
Okay.
definitely. So this is This is my honorable mention is The Ghetto Love Story by Brighter Pocha, aka Basket Mouth. So I think Basket Mouth basically the movie made sense to me in all forms, and I think that's he gave everything for the movie. He was out there, spoke to media, always like trying to engage people to watch the movie. Did a lot of skits and all that. But one of the best films, that's one of them for me. Like I love the film. So taking our top spots, this year is The Weekend by Daniel Oriahi. The Weekend by Daniel was directed by Daniel Oriahi and starred the likes of Bucci Franklin, and Uzoamaka Aniunoh. Uzoamaka Aniunoh was in Mami Wata by CJ Ferry,
Um,
and she was the lead actress on that film too, and she did so well in this movie. Movie basically talked about like a couple,
mm-hmm.
like a guy who has like his family, his mom and dad and all that. They're all staying in the village, and he's engaged to this lady who doesn't have a family, and he's just trying to like navigate her ways through like, okay, who is your family? I want to meet your family. I want to know where you were from. I want to know, what was like for you. Like always asking questions. I want to go see your mom. When she gets to finally sees her parents, there is this like the whole story changes, and it's a horror genre,
Hmm.
which makes it my favorite because I love horror movies a lot. And for Daniel to create something of this nature and try to like make us understand that there's stories that needs to be told. We're not told like, when you touch on horror stories.
Hmm.
There's Juju stories. I don't know if you saw that in year 2000, year 2020
I didn't
or
see it.
2021. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Juju stories were also like one of my by CJ Ferry as well. Very it's like he told me a story about things that we don't talk about often.
Hmm.
So these are like horror stories, and we don't have a horror genre. We just do drama, and now we are just trying to do some action,
Crime thrillers as
crime
well.
trailers as well.
Yeah.
So definitely, we didn't have a lot of horror movies, and for Daniel to have done this movie, it was great. The
Hmm.
movies, the visuals were great. The way it tells the story visually, the cinematography was great. The color grading was great. The house that was used to act the film, it was. And when I spoke with him earlier this year, he's like, he wasn't trying to tell a Nigerian story. He's trying to tell an African story.
Hmm.
So the country that was being even used in the country of was not a Nigerian. It was not from Nigeria. It's just a country set in Africa.
That's interesting.
So basically, the names that they use there, the culture, the tradition they use, it's kind of you might tie it to when you watch it, you might tie it to like, okay, this happens in so states in Nigeria, where if I don't know if I can give a spoiler right now, but I think basically the story it touches on our African culture, what kind of culture that people still keep
Hmm.
in our but something of the past that still happens in the present. We seem some might see it as absorbed, but it still happens regardless. And he basically touched on that visually, told us a story. He was part of the writing, he was part of the people that wrote the film,
Mm-hmm.
and and when aligning with the writers as well, taking that synergy and bringing it to directing it, and it was just amazing. Weekend was an amazing film, and it also did so well in an AMA this year. It was the highest film nominated at AMA this year. Also broke the record,
16 nominations, yes?
16
Yeah.
nominations. It was quite a number for a film to show you how good that film was. And the film, so it has screened at Tribeca Film Festival in New York
Hmm.
and also BFI in London, BFI London Film Festival, amongst many others. But those two stand out for me because those are like when your film screams at Tribeca and
Yeah.
BFI, it's good. Good. So basically, The Weekend was my best movie of 2020.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
was I think his work he also coming into like that his next project um Blood Sisters.
Oh.
So he's part of the filmmakers that have been
Oh,
shooting
okay
Blood
then.
Sisters. So I think I'm also I'm anticipating on that already
Yeah.
because Blood Sisters last year it was good.
Mm-hmm.
The previous Blood Sister was good,
Yeah.
but there's some stories that there's some lines I didn't really understand and all
Okay.
that. But I think him coming in with the kind of pedigree he has,
Mm-hmm.
at least to me, yeah, he's a very good storyteller. He knows how to use his visuals to tell stories. I think going into that film is also an turning into a fan. So that's it. That wraps up our countdown
All
for
right.
this year. We have like interesting films that have screened so far. That have screened both on the cinemas, on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, and we've had an amazing time like watching these movies in 2024. And I think going forward, this sets a pace for Nigerian movies and Hollywood. So,
Yeah.
what do you think so far? What's your thoughts on this film that we've spoken about
All the
so
movies
far?
you've spoken about.
Yeah,
Well, I think they are of a very diverse palette,
yeah,
and I think they show the great strides that are being made by filmmakers, and what it could mean for their independent careers and the industry as also, collectively, Nollywood. Yeah, I think the future is bright. Yeah.
yeah. So, thank you, Ni, for being on the show with
Thank
us
you for
today.
having
Yeah,
me.
so I think we should do this more often.
Yeah.
Invite you to talk about films, and if there's a big one in 2025, we can always get to have you on the show to like discuss. When there is this like huge project that everybody is talking about that needs to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that's it. Like, good to have you on the show.
Good to be
Yeah.
here.
So thank you so much. And that's it for the year 2024. That's how we wrap up 2024. I hope 2025 brings us a better and more, appealing, like, screen time. We have a lot of, you know, films, do better this year.
Yeah.
And I think
I,
Netflix on Amazon, even though we said Netflix has cut off ties with Nollywood, at least in terms of commissioning of films,
mm-hmm.
but at least licensing of films is still there. And I think we can do better in terms of storytelling. As that's one of our major problems in 2024. Moving to 2025, we should have like greater stories to tell for our audiences.
Yeah.
And that's what we have for this year. Thank you for sticking with us. Stay tuned for more entertainment business updates on BD Extra. Anthony,